represent learning new things. Here's your host, Cindy Garcia, who is going to teach us the hobby of the week.
Hi guys, how are you? Today we are going to be learning how to play the clarinet. This week's hobby was actually submitted to us by the Band Association, so let's get started. There's 7 different parts to a clarinet. We're going to start off with the reed. I'm going to be using something called a synthetic reed, but most clarinet players use a wooden reed, which looks just like this one. Now, whenever you're a beginner clarinet player, you want to start off with a 2-inch. However, I'm at 3 1/4 with a synthetic reed, but 3 1/2 with the wooden reed. Secondly, we're going to take our mouthpiece and we're going to place the reed onto the mouthpiece. We're going to take then our ligature and we're going to wrap the ligature around the mouthpiece and around the reed. Basically, the function of the ligature is so that whenever you are blowing air into the mouthpiece, the reed vibrates and then it makes sound. And you just want it to be on there, not too tight, because if you make it too tight, then it is going to come out almost forced. And you don't want that, because you want your sound to sound natural and basically effortless. And I'm just going to take the screw. Now, my clarinet actually came with a metal ligature, but I'm going to use the leather one just because it gives you better sound quality. Then we're going to take our barrel and we're just going to place it underneath the mouthpiece and just give it a little push for it to go. Then you're going to take your top joint. Basically, the top joint is just going to connect to the barrel, and see how it's got all the notes on there? You're just going to place them on there and make sure that the notes are lined up. See these little keys right here, the holes for the keys? You just want to make sure that those are lined up. Now, the top joint and the bottom joint are connected by some cork down here. And the reason for this is so that whenever you're playing and you take your hands away, it doesn't just fall apart. So then you're going to take the last piece, which is the bell, and this is basically just going to shape the sound whenever you actually do play. Now let's talk a little bit about your face posture. Your embouchure is really critical for whenever you're going to play the clarinet, because if you don't do it just right, then little or no sound will come out. So you want to make sure that your chin is as flat as possible, just like this, and then your bottom lip is going to cover your bottom teeth, because if you touch your reed, it's going to squeak and it's going to sound really high-pitched and it's not going to be pretty, so don't do that. Your top teeth are actually allowed to touch the mouthpiece, and then you're just going to cover it all with your lips. So just like this. And then you're just going to place it on there. Make sure not to put the whole mouthpiece in your mouth, but also don't barely touch it. So just like this. And you're just going to blow. Just like that. All right, now let's go on to reading notes on a piece of paper. We're going to start out with the whole note. This is what a whole note looks like. And basically a whole note gets 4 beats to a note. Then there is the half note, which gets half as much as a whole note, which is 2 beats. 2 beats to a note, which is 1, 2, and that was your half note. Then we've got the quarter note, and this is going to be 1/4 of the whole note, which is just 1 beat. And then in addition to the quarter note, there is the 8th note. The 8th note just has that little flag right there, and that just gets half of a beat. Now, whenever you're playing, you're going to want room to breathe. So this right here guarantees that you get to breathe for at least 1 beat. And there's that. So whenever we come back, I'm going to teach you about the different families that there are in the between the woodwind family and the brass. But first, let's hear a little word from our sponsors. All right, and just remember that whenever you guys play the clarinet, you're going to have to take really good care of it.
I used to feed Phoebe Purina until I found out about the unnatural ingredients in that food. So I decided it was time to change her diet. After switching to Peppy Supreme, Phoebe has been more energetic than ever.
Peppy Supreme is not available in stores. It is $19.95 and has a money-back guarantee.
Hey Hey guys, welcome back to Learning New Things. This week's episode we were learning about how to play the clarinet. Earlier before the show, or before the break, I taught you guys that there was 7 different parts to a clarinet. I also taught you the whole note, the quarter note, the half note, and the eighth note. Now I'm going to teach you guys how what the difference in between the notes are. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about how there was 2 different families. There's multiple families in the band, but then 2 of the main ones are the woodwinds and the brass. So the woodwinds basically consist of the clarinet, saxophone, flute, oboe, just stuff like that. And then their brass family is going to consist of trombone, trumpet, sousaphone, tuba. And so basically they read 2 different types of notes. So the woodwind family, which is me, I read from something called the treble clef, while the brass family read from something called the bass clef. Now you've probably seen these before and you just didn't know the difference, but now you know that there's a huge difference in between them. For example, this is a staff, and notice how there are different notes lined up on there. Basically, whenever a woodwind sees this note right here, they're going to say, oh, well, it's a C, but when the brass players see this note, they're going to say it's an E. So to avoid the confusion, whenever directors speak to their band, they're going to say, okay, guys, play a concert F or a concert A. So it basically merges the 2 different types of notes all into just one. So for example, I'm a clarinet player. Whenever I'm playing a concert F, it would be my G, but it would be a brass player's B. All right, now, actually learning how to play the clarinet is super easy. I taught you guys how to play an actual note, how to put your face together, essentially. And now let's learn how to actually play notes. So a concert F, which is just an open G, is going to be no fingers, which is what I played before the show. If you're going to want to play, let's go down this staff. If you want to play an F, you just add a finger. If you want to play an E, you add another finger. If you want to play a D, you add another finger, and so on and so on. So this is my G. I'm going to go down on the staff, which I'm just going to add a finger, the thumb. Then I'm just going to add another finger to play an E, my pointer finger, my thumb and 1. Then I've got thumb 1, 2 to play a D, thumb 1, 2, 3 to play a C, and so on and so on. And you just add fingers if you want to go down a note. You subtract fingers if you want to go up a note. It's really pretty easy. Now we also have something called the register key, and this key basically takes any low note and makes it high. So I'm going to demonstrate real quick. So this is an F and it goes up to a C. And so on and so on. The register key really does some magic. So earlier I told you guys that we were going to play a song that I put together for you guys. Being the Christmas season, I figured that I should play some Christmas music. So if you know it, feel free to sing along. It was submitted as well by our band association. And there you guys have it. Now, whenever you're gonna want to take your clarinet apart, you're just gonna do it just how whenever you were putting it together, just pulling everything apart, and just place it into your case. Now, it's really important to place it just like it is, because in the event that you were to drop your case, everything would be protected. All right, so if you guys want a recap of anything that you just saw, go to www.learningnewthings, and I'll see you guys next week.